Hello there, I hope you're doing all right. Now, I have had a question in my mind for quite some time, and this question has been, do we actually have a Kenyan dream? Like the Americans have the American dream, do we have a Kenyan dream? Something that we are all in pursuit of, something that we wish to accomplish, something that is being translated across generations of what this country wants to achieve, of what this country wants to make of itself. And it's been a tough question, and I haven't had an answer. Yeah, maybe you can help me with that. Do you think we have a Kenyan question? Also, uh, when we are having discussions, mainly maybe with my dad, and we're talking about things that are happening in the country, maybe that have come up in the news and everything, these conversations tend to wrap up in a particular direction or conclusion, which is Kenya, we are at a bad state. Every time we talk about any issue, it just confirms and reconfirms that we are in a bad state. And I know this is a view that all of you can share. I am a media student, and just the other day, MediaMax retrenched close to 160 employees, and that puts great question to me as a person going out to the industry, who wants to learn from the industry, of how am I going to even enter the industry if they are letting people go. So, and it also speaks to a great point of the economic position of our country. But something hit me today, and it was a speaker I was listening to, and he said that most of us lack urgency. Urgency, as in terms of responsibility. We don't take responsibility of most of the things that happen to us because it's easier to project them to other people. It's easier to project it to the government. And I know it's logical when we are talking about this country and reflecting or projecting everything to the government. It's its fault. It made promises that it has not achieved. It has made corruption more promiscuous. It has done all manner of things which are wrong. But then that does not mean we don't have a power by ourselves. It does not mean that we cannot do anything to change that. And this brings back the point of voting as young people. I remember after the last elections, after seeing whatever had happened, I had come to a conclusion that, nah, I'll never vote again. But then thinking about it, that is the only place where we can express our urgency, our responsibility of who we are going to vote in or who we are not going to vote in. And as we know, currently in this country, our politics are majorly tribalistic. So we as young people today, we are at I think of this moment as the 11:59th minute. That minute just before it turns midnight, and just that day before you cross the year. It's that day. It's that just light moment before you cross to the future. Because every time we're told we are the future generation, we are the future leaders, we are leaders of tomorrow, and I think that tomorrow is now here with us. It's just 1 minute to tomorrow, one day to tomorrow, one day for you to link up with your future. And this is the time we as the young people need to take charge, because whatever we are complaining about today, right now we have the capability, we are in a position to do these things, because a lot of things have been done maybe on Twitter, on online, and most movements have been done there. And right now, the young people have access to such, and they push for decisions, for better rights, for better responsibility by these leaders through those platforms. We need even to translate that to our physical lives, where we operate, the values that we have as young people, because today is that day before we just cross to tomorrow, and tomorrow you're the leader, and we still have the same problems that you were complaining about when you were young. And I tend to think of it this way: So today we are fighting with all these problems that are there in the government, in the society, and everything. But 40 years to come, because you and I will be the people holding those offices. You and I will be the people in those big positions. You and I will be the lawmakers, the policy designers. Will we have the same problems that we complained about while we were in our teens? What would we have done before we got there? And trust me, it's not just going to happen by a leap. It's not just going to happen that when you get into that office is when you're going to do something. It's something of a responsibility that you should take from today, something that you you pick up from now. You start creating like the divergent line from today. The line of change starts with one step away from the wrongdoing, one step away from the wrong system, one step away, and that is the only way we are going to achieve this. Now think about this. If in the coming elections, maybe we are very sober as the young people and decide exactly what we want as young people, we might not be able to vote in the person with better ideologies or better policies and a better track record for this country. But if we start talking about it at that time, and then we don't stop, and we do it again after 5 years and again after 5 years, trust me, trust me, in the next 20 years, we are going to elect in better leaders in the future. We're going to have a person leading this country who has a future for it, who is not led by greed or anything. I know you might think it's wishful thinking for today because today we are in a dire situation. But if we start taking the first step today, then it happens. If in the 1930s and before we started the fight for independence, you told them that they could fight off the whites, they thought they were superior. That was an unentertainable idea. But then we have independence and we're here. So today it might seem wishful thinking, thinking that we can do something to change what is there right now, the rot that is in there. And you might think it's wishful thinking, but trust me, with you changing the single mind, because I know you're one of the most learned people in your village, and if you just go and educate a person after another, and educate a friend, and educate another colleague or something, just that will create enough momentum for us to have a better future in 20 years' time. And that time will be the prime time for the young people, will be the prime time for us, because it won't be fair, because right now the barriers to enter entrepreneurship are super high. Access to loans, the interests are super high, and you can't do it as a young person. But if we don't rectify the system as the young people of today, then yours and my sons are going to face the same problem, are going to face the same problem of capital, are going to face the same problem of lack of resources, lack of finances, lack of manpower, and all those things. So yours and my problem today, we need to solve them today, so that in the future, when our kids are in the same place that we are today, they are not talking about the same issues. They are speaking about something else, something that makes this country greater, something that makes this environment better. And also think about it this way. When you're retiring and you assumed all these problems throughout your youth, and then you retire and the rates of corruption are still high, the rate of medical access is still high, the rate of just upkeep is still high, you don't get your pension because salaries, they're not being paid, and all these other problems that we might assume because they are not affecting us today. Then when you're 60 or you're getting old, you need the medical insurance not there, the quality of even the medicine that's offered in the country maybe is not as good. So will you say that it's the government's fault while you have worked in the same system? Just think about it that way. And as you think about your dream, and I think about my dream, we all together create the Kenyan dream. Have a good time.